Mischa. So he's from the class of 2008. He was actually head boy. How many head boys are here? I think it was just him and Greg Payne. Anybody else?
I shouldn't have been.
You shouldn't be. Mark, you were wrong. We all know it. And the thing about Mischa, after leaving St. Benedict's, he left and joined the Royal Marines in the UK and became a Green Beret. And what began as an adventure turned into a life-changing experience, and it led Mischa to leaving the Royal Navy and becoming a farmer living off the grid somewhere off East London, or somewhere in East London. Mischa's written a book about his journey called Guns and Trees, Bullets and Seeds, a journey from Green Beret soldier to green living farmer. I'd say he's the only equivalent of a living Bear Grylls that I know. So I'm going to pass on to Mischa and he can tell us more about his story. Let's give him a round of applause.
Everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. First of all, I'd just like to thank Roberto for organising this event. It's great to see new faces and old faces from my class. And also the catering staff, thank you so much for setting this up. This is fantastic. Okay, so as Roberto said, I started by joining the Royal Marines. And you might be asking why the Royal Marines? At the age of 20, like most kids, I've come out of school where I've been asking permission to go to the toilet. And the next year I didn't know what I knew to do with my life. It's a big change. And there was very little transition time. So I didn't know what to do. I spoke to a friend of my brother's who was also planning on joining the Royal Marines. And he said, Mischa, you row, I row. We've known each other. We like extreme sports. You might want to do something like this. Okay. So I researched more and more, and the sense of adventure drew me in. The more I researched, the more I fell in love with what was being offered. The sense of adventure, security, new culture, and going overseas to England as a South African, I thought it was fantastic. Experiencing new culture, making new friends. And so I started the joining process in 2010, and by 2011 I went overseas to do the selection process. I succeeded in that with flying colours. I had a superior pass, and I waited 7 months after that to join a troop. And in 2012, the 6th of February, I started, my first day was the start of my training, my recruit training. 9 months down the line, I passed this as an original, and what that means is it means I passed out of the troop I started with. I also got awarded the Diamond Award, which is, it means you've been a top recruit and you've surpassed the expected standards in more or less all the fields. Transformative. The training was everything they said it would be. The camp cream on the face, the bush and the shrubs and the webbing and the helmets and stalking the enemy. It was fantastic. It was all the things that you see in the adverts. It was awesome. Then I went on to my first base in Scotland, Benedict, which is probably the most clouded part of the world. Miserable, cold, and I did that on purpose because there's a lot of nuclear activity on that base, nuclear submarines, nuclear weapons, and they don't want enemy satellites taking pictures of that base. So I was there for a good 6 months, and when I got there, things changed. I started seeing people around me, Friday night, Saturday night, going out, looking for instant gratification, finding people to share special moments with, but then forget the name the next day, getting drunk. And I thought to myself, I joined this elite force. Surely the standards, the personal standards, should be higher than this. And I found myself surrounded by people who weren't living up to the standards that I thought was that of the Royal Marines. That was the first thing. The second thing We were driving in convoy to a nuclear submarine holding station. And on the way there, in this Hummer I was in, there was a group of Marines and our troop officer, none of whom had been to war, to Afghanistan, to Iraq. We had zero war experience. And so we were talking about questions that come up in a soldier's mind, things like political agendas, collateral damage, all these sorts of things. And when the topic of collateral damage came up, I started paying attention to what the troop officer would say. And he said, it's just an unfortunate part of the nature of our job. And he said it with a kind of disconnection to the reality of what that means. And I thought to myself, I'm not comfortable with being part of an organization who, as part of their job, innocent men, women, and children die. It didn't sit well with me. That was the second thing. The third thing was, and this was the final cherry on top, I watched a video by Charlie Chaplin. He acted in a movie called The Great Dictator. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it. It's a parody on Hitler in World War II. And his speech from that movie changed my life. It changed my view on war, on what we're fighting for. So these three things combined sent me on a different trajectory. And I started thinking to myself, maybe I'm not where I'm supposed to be. So I went down a couple of years later, and I eventually became a conscientious objector. And I started looking at what else I could give my time and my life to. And now you're probably asking why Dubrovo and why natural farming, as opposed to playing around with guns and bombs and uniforms. So I left the military, and the reason I joined the military, one of the reasons is because I wanted to make the world a better place. Obviously, when I got there, you start hearing things behind closed doors, you start hearing different truths that shatter the preconceived ideas I had before. So I had to give my time and my life energy to something different, but I just didn't know what. So I started doing some research about what's happening in the natural world, the current farming systems, farming methods, and we have next to zero fertile soil on our planet today. If you research the UN stats and data, we almost have zero fertile soil. Now what does that mean for food security, for the security of mankind? I mean, Roberto and after talking about the future of the human species. This is a big part of it. So it's very interesting the talk that Rob and Matt had, because that's going towards energy and technology, and this is a different take on it, as in how do we grow our food. And I think both are necessary. We do need energy, we do run our systems, we need to run hospitals, technology, things like that. But how are we going to grow our food? And is it real food? So why off-grid and why natural farm? I started looking around at the environment I was living in, and I came back from the military. I realized that the buildings I was living in, I hadn't had any connection or first-hand interaction with the process of the building. I didn't even know where the materials came from. The food on my plate, I don't know the people who do that food. I don't know where it was grown. My water comes from factories and systems that are far, far away from me. So I wanted to have a sense of connection. I wanted to have a life of connection to at least the bare basics of existence. Food, water, shelter. I wanted to live a life where I was connected intrinsically to those things. So the years of my natural farming life and adventures and getting my feet dirty, like you saw in the preview that you can see now, I started thinking about why we wake up in the morning. What keeps us moving? What keeps us waking up the next day, the next day, the next day? So I decided to spend a lot of time meditating and contemplating, and what I came up with was the sequential triad of meaning. And you can see the base of that triangle is love. And that's the first stage. we fall in love with something. And for me, it was the natural law. But it could be anything for everyone. I mean, everyone has something different that they fall in love with. It could be your child, it could be an idea, it could be a piece of art, it could be a pet. Anything, but we fall in love with something. That's the first stage. When we fall in love with something, the lines and the boundaries of separation start becoming blurred. So, as a result of that, we feel connected. What we love becomes the extension of ourselves. I mean, that's just the natural process of it. As a result of that connection, where something feels like it's an extension of ourselves, we're going to want to naturally look after the well-being of that thing. And that's where the responsibility comes in. You look after what you love, you look after what feels like it's a part of you. And then that creates meaning for life. We wake up to look after the things that we feel connected to. So for me it was nature, for me it was wanting to be a part of a life where I felt connected to what keeps me alive. So like I said, food, shelter, water. This is a bit of a collage of the foods that I've grown, some of avocados, persimmons, custard apples. Here's my house. You just have a look at that for a couple of moments. It's all very natural. Mud, I catch rainwater off my roof. I don't have a gas stove, I cook on a fire, as you can see. Does anyone have any questions?
You got a photo of the lawnmower?
Are you talking about the cars? No, unfortunately not. No.
So, we spoke about last night just briefly, but like, I was thinking Wi-Fi, as much as it's a thing, is crucial for you to communicate with the world somehow. And is that something on the radar? Or are you moving away from certain technologies, or would you say actually Wi-Fi is okay? I can work with that because I do need to, be able to communicate, for example, with people overseas or whatever.
Okay, that's a good question. You touched on a bit of a philosophical ideal there, like moving away from certain things.
You're welcome. That's what I do, Mischa. I just slide it in there.
Sideline there. And then you just go on for a whole. Yeah, okay. There's nothing wrong with technology. I don't think there's anything wrong with technology, especially if it's practical and pragmatic. I mean, communication is a big part of our life today. So yes, I've got plans to put in a solar system, a battery system, and Wi-Fi. So I do want to stay in touch with my mom and my friends and family. So,
How difficult was it for you to adjust from a normal luxury lifestyle to this all natural fire cooking thing that you want now?
That's also a good question. I've always had a tendency to test the limits of things, like how uncomfortable I can be before I break. And I'm not sadistic, but I like to know what I'm made of. The only way you can do it is to test, to push yourself until you finally reach that breaking point, and from there you work backwards. The transition, to be honest, I was never comfortable in this setting. I always felt disconnected. I felt uneasy. As comfortable as it is, this life for me is very comfortable, but that's what made it uneasy. The connection that I have in East London, in that lifestyle, as challenging as it is, it's fulfilling. So it's a balance. It outweighs the discomfort. And to be honest, it was actually not that difficult because we're diurnal creatures. We live our lives during the day. So I live by candlelight. I don't have lights in my house. which makes it very easy because when the sun goes down, I light my candle, I read my book for a couple of hours, and then I fall asleep because that's just our natural pattern. So what I've realized is, and what I found is, that lifestyle brought me closer to the natural rhythms of the human being, of the Homo sapien. So it's actually very easy. But I think you're referring to maybe no shopping malls, no movie houses, that sort of thing, or you?
No, just basic hot water lights. Because I don't like being uncomfortable. So, yeah, so I was just wondering how do you get about that? Yeah, that's really, the inconvenience I hate. So.
Okay, that's a good question. So the conveniences, like the comforts of life, so things like your basics, hot water, things like that. So have you heard of a donkey boiler? So if you don't know what a donkey, I see some people nodding their heads. So a donkey boiler is, it's like a big steel drum, it's about 200 liters, you can get an old oil drum, and you cob that in, or you take some earth and you cob that in, and you make a space underneath where you light the fires at chimney in the back, and that drum is connected to all your pipes, and that's your geyser. So you got hot water. You can do solar lights, like I'm going to be doing soon. So you got lights, you got hot water, you got internet. You know, there's the bare basics, but yeah, it's comfortable. In fact, it's probably more comfortable than modern society. Just give it a try. Yeah, that's.
I have two questions. The first one, you spoke about it last night, and I really was intrigued by one side. How you spoke about how you don't get bored there. And second, why did you choose to live such an isolated life?
Yeah, I'll answer the boredom question first. And yeah, so Matt, Roberto, and myself went out last night, and we unpacked a lot of stuff. it was really good. So I live in Mozambique for 6 months a year, and I live in East London for 6 months a year. And both lifestyles are in the bush, in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of people say, don't you get bored? And I look at that person and I say, the only reason you have shopping malls and movie houses and Netflix is because you are bored in the city. You take those things away, and there's nothing to do here. On the lifestyle in East London and Mozambique, we have none of that. There's no shopping malls, no hairdressers, no movie houses, no clubs. But we do not have enough time in the day to finish what we need to do. There's always firewood to carry. There's always trees to plant. There's always water to heat up. And there's always a piece of the house that needs fixing. So at the end of the day, when our heads hit the pillow, we are, first of all, we are finished. But we feel fulfilled. I'm not saying no one feels fulfilled in the city, but there are a lot more distractions here in modern society than there are in the bush. And there's a reason for that, because people in the city without those distractions would go crazy. So those distractions there to keep us away from the fact that we are bored in a society that's very comfortable, that can provide us with everything we need with very little work. The second question, just remind me what your second question was.
Why did you choose to live such an isolated life?
It's not that isolated. I mean, I'm 10 kilometers inland from a little retirement village. I've got friends who live there, but on the farm I'm in East London, there are people there. When you say isolated, what do you mean?
Living so far away from just the bustle of life.
First of all, the land was available in that area. But living in the city with its cars and the noises and the light pollution, you don't get that same sense of connection to the wild or to nature. I mean, imagine trying to find a 1 hectare plot in Bedford View. You're not going to feel very connected to the wild. So I wanted to be as close to the wild as possible while still being close enough to a city that could provide hardware tools or food in emergency, things like that. And also, I mean, I do enjoy my own company. I like to be by myself a lot, so that has a lot to do with it.
Psychologically, how did you deal with the disappointment of the Royal Navy not really being what you thought it was going to be?
Good question. I am a romantic at heart. So when I watched all the adverts, I was crying. I was like, this is my life's meaning. This is what I'm born to do. And when I got there, obviously that was hard. But I was very younger back then. It's made me realize what life is really about. You can't romanticize everything and cry with everything. But at that moment, I was very disappointed because of how much energy I put into watching the adverts and working so hard. I mean, when I went overseas to join the Marines, it's a one-way ticket from the other hemisphere of the world. You get there, failure is not an option because you're so far away. You've got to make do with what you have. On the first day, I saw 6 people leave, and they were crying. I mean, you're in a room, a dormitory with 55 beds, and the guys are crying because they're missing home. Now I'm looking at these guys going, you live like a 2-hour train trip away from base. Like you can literally phone your mom and say, hey, this is tough. I had myself to rely on. So I put a lot of energy and effort into making that work because of what I believed it was. And then when I got to my first base and I saw the reality, it was just like, it was very deflating, extremely deflating. But I bounced back from that and then we found this, and I've romanticized this.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I'm going to answer that question after the video.
One more question. Would you ever think of having like a weekend trip for 2 or 3 boys just to show them what the natural lifestyle is about? Because our kids don't know what this is. If there's no water in the area, they're like, was I brought in a bucket? What's happening? So would you be open to an idea like that?
Well, the farm I live on, I'm living on a 2-hectare space, and that 2 hectares is on a bigger farm, and that there's a retreat center where there is accommodation space for people to come visit and volunteer. So there are beds, there are plates, there's food. Just need to make a booking, and yeah. I'll give you the website afterwards. But Joe, you touched on another good point: water and bathing, and we don't know what that life is like, and I just wanted to find out. That's part of the reason why I went down this road, just to find out what it's like to live without, and how do I respond in those situations, because then I know more about myself. So this whole journey has been part of the purpose of the journey has been to learn about me. It's not to enforce ideals onto the world and tell people how they should live. I have zero right to say how people should live, and we're all free. But it's been an extremely evolutionary process. But Joe, who are you thinking of sending down to the farm?
All the kids.
My grade 5.
Only once you've got Wi-Fi. First question. What water?
Okay, so like I said, food, water, shelter. So I'll touch on the first one, food. Who here has ever grown anything that they've eaten? Okay, so you know what it feels like when you eat something that you have grown. How empowering does that feel? The taste's different, right? I mean, you can buy a tomato from Spar and you can grab a tomato off your tomato plant from your window vase, and how different does it feel? But it's still a tomato. So there's something in the process of growing your own food, tending to that plant, looking after the soil, that makes the food itself different on an energetic level. But we don't know who grows our food. We can see where it comes from. It's a product of Vietnam and or China and or South Africa on the back of these products. But we don't know the people. We weren't there watering the trees, etc., etc. So there's a great sense of disconnection. I wanted to change that. So that's the first thing, food. Water. Unfortunately, most of our water, natural water, bodies of water in this country are either dried up or extremely polluted. So it's not like I can just go down to a stream and get a bucket and drink. So I get my rainwater, my water off of my roof, rainwater. And again, it's a closed loop system, so the rain falls on my roof into my tanks and I drink it. There's no worry about cholera or whether it's going to be switched on or off or day zero or anything like that. There's a great sense of connection and empowerment. And I've been hearing a lot of people speak about load shedding and electricity, and again, we're relying on people far, far away from us to supply us with something that is extremely needed, but the power's out of our hands. So again, it's a journey of empowerment. And again, the last one is shelter. Mud huts and thatched roofs is what we've been living for thousands of years. And we've been building our houses for millennia. When I was in the military, the rooms and the dorms I was living in, I didn't know who built them. I wasn't part of the process, and again, there was this sense of disconnection. And I just felt uncomfortable knowing I was not part of what keeps me alive. So I'm going to play a video. Now, I'm going to play all the three videos for you, and then I'm going to explain the process of how these structures get built. This is me making wine. Okay, so that was not me making wine. That there is a combination of sand, clay, cow dung, and grass. And that's what my walls are made of. So what you're seeing here is a process called cobbing. There's a difference between cob and daub. Now the Xhosa people and the Zulu people made their little rondavels out of daub. It's the same material, but the mixing process is different. Daub, they take this material and they take a spade or a hoe or a stick and they just mix it around. It's very crudely done, very loosely done, and then they slap it onto woven sticks or woven saplings. Cob, on the other hand, you have a tarp that you lay on the ground, you put all the material on top, you add water, and you do this. You flip it, do it again, you flip it, you do it again. And what that does is it aligns all the clay platelets within the sand and the clay. And because of that alignment, it's a lot stronger. Now you can mold with this material once it's fully mixed and it's processed properly. You can actually mold it, and you can make. No, you can form it. It doesn't need a skeleton, so it's a lot stronger than gold. I still have the woven saplings on the wall, so it's just a double strength. So that's the cobbing process. Now the turning of the top. This is me turning the top. So once you've trampled it, you turn it, you trample it again, you turn it until it becomes like a chocolate seal, like a sausage. So you add water if you need to. And the grass on that acts as a rebar. So the grass acts as a rebar, the cow dung acts as a cohesive, and the sand and clay combination gives it that balance between strength and flexibility. So I don't make a video of me making the cob balls, but once you've got your chocolate seal, you take out a handful and you take. I'll play the video first. So you take a few handfuls and you turn it into a ball, and then those balls you use to slap onto your saplings. So the video I'm going to show you now is me putting the cob onto my saplings. And as you can see, there's a lot of rough on the wall. So that's the first layer. You put that first layer, it's called a form layer. After the form layer, you do it again, but you put a smooth layer on. And you just keep adding smooth until all the cracks are gone.
What sort of a maintenance do you need on it?
Very little, surprisingly enough, very little. If the rain doesn't hit your wall, you're good to go. But you can also wash your wall with a lime wash. So you mix some lime with some whatever color you want, so like a reddish soil with some lime, and you wash it and it makes it waterproof. But again, it's like, unless it's been rained on heavily, you don't need to maintain it, or if a ladder hits it, or it's very, very strong. Very, very strong, Okay, so we've done a bit of a full circle here. Why did I do this? At first I thought it was food, water, shelter, and that at an existential level, on a physical level, that's what I would like. To be connected to the things that keep me alive, to allow me to exist. But on a deeper level, it's about sovereignty and autonomy embedded in nature. Not relying on others for the basics of life, for food, water, shelter. As we can see today with load shedding, it's not the best situation to be in when you rely on others for something as important as energy. I got asked the question the other day, what three ways are there to live a more sustainable life? And I thought about this, and I thought, okay, I could either give the answer from a I know what's best perspective and take my experience as gospel and impose it onto others. But then I thought, no, everyone's on a different journey. So what 3 tips can I give people to make their journeys more meaningful, regardless of what their journey looks like? And I came up with these 3 points. Treat yourself as if you are someone you are responsible for. Regardless of what you're doing in life, whether you're living off-grid, alone, by candlelight, having cold showers every day, or you're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar organization, treat yourself as if you are someone you're responsible for. Second point I came up with was spend time and energy on strengthening relationships with the people you love. A lot of the problems we have today is because our connections and relationships with people or nature, or nature, is broken. And the last one, spend time in nature. Because nature is the basis of our existence. And that brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Mischa, I have 2 questions. Actually, I have 3 questions. Question number 1, do you find obviously more validation living the way you are now than in as I say, normal society?
It's a good question. Validation, I'd say fulfillment. Yeah, I'd say fulfillment. And probably I feel like I've gotten a little bit closer to what it feels like to be a Homo sapien in connection with nature. I mean, I know we've got these amazing minds and technologies, an awesome thing, and I don't dismiss that. But we've moved so far away from nature. It's all digital, it's all technology these days. And we've almost turned our backs on the very thing that held us for such a long time in existence. The microorganisms in the soil, the clean air, the H2O, the minerals in the water. We don't consider that. I went on a volunteering trip before I went down to the farm, and I asked myself, at what point does the water become me? Was it when it's past my lips and I'm drinking it? Or was it when it's still in the stream? At what point must I make sure that water is clean and healthy? Was it just before I drink it? And that got me thinking, nature is an extension of us. The soil, the animals, the trees. So, doing this, I feel very fulfilled.
And then the skills that Saint Benedict taught you, that you utilize through your life.
Well, as you know, I was a rower. And, okay, the academics, if I didn't do maths, I wouldn't be able to pull that out. If I didn't do English, I wouldn't be able to run a boat. If I didn't do art, which I didn't do, I wouldn't be able to create murals on our walls. But the rowing academics, you know, that sport that takes you to the edge of what you think was possible. There have been days on the farm building houses where I've gone 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, waking up at 3 in the morning, building my full-out hand lights. Fast on back to the days of, you know, always wearing a where it's cold and you're having a bucket next to the range because you know what's coming. Yeah, that's the foundation. So those skills are the foundation.
And then I saw a few clips of you with your shirt. Do you have a training regime? I think that goal because it's more than annual every year.
I don't know. No, but to answer that, not directly to me, but my time was elite. None of those guys have a training regime or trim, but they all look like someone that all the tricks wish they could have. But they don't lift, they don't push, they nothing. They're just ripped, lean, big, and this is the last of it. So there is something in it.
Mischa, I've got a question. So, when moving off grid, you used to maybe, I don't know, eating donuts, burgers, drinking coffee. So you used to maybe a suburban city diet. Okay, so you've got your diet, you've got your access to Snickers bars and having a Coke now and again. So that's the one body. You then move off grid, and suddenly you don't have access to, I don't know, 98% of the stuff. And you're running around. So how's your body adapting to that from a soft city body going pretty hard, and especially with the energy consumption, because the amount of work that you're doing is massive. So how are you feeding the body in order to do what you do as well? A lot of questions with it.
Did you just say I was a soft city boy?
Yeah.
No, living in the city, I eat healthy anyway. Lots of salads and, you know, I try to stay away from processed foods and things like that. But it's a good question, you know, the amount of energy expenditure on the farm is insane. I'm probably pushing 4,000 calories a day in terms of food. Because it's just I feed from across 4 until 7. But that's not like that every day. I know, like, don't take what I just said and what you saw. That's a nightmare. A lot of it has to do with the gentleman I was working with on the farm brought in a herd of cows, and managing a herd of cows, 2 people, 18 cows is not, that's, you know, it's a little rough. So we sold the cows, and I've got a lot more on top of that. So it's a lot more comfortable than what it has been. But in terms of food, access to foods, I'm still in the transition phase between having a fully flourishing food forest. But I'll give you guys a list of what trees we have. Mango trees, avocados, macadamias, small pounds of citrus, pawpaws, bananas, custard apples. We've got grapevines, we've got lychees, and then we do all of our vegetables, sweet potato, butternuts, pumpkin, normal potatoes. And then we're going to get chickens next year as well. So, I mean, when it comes to food, we've got all the good stuff there. This is just not the rat stuff, or the processed stuff, or the extremely high sugar treats. So that might be a psychological thing that people, if they do go down this road, they have to get used to that, because there's no such thing as a single treat, or a donut one.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe in the future with the technology you're going. But that in of itself is, like, it wasn't a sacrifice for me, because I wanted to be connected to nature. There's no such thing as processed foods in nature. So when I realized that wasn't part of my reality, it was just another master. I was like, okay, great. You know, I don't see a wrapper. Yeah, that's fantastic. So it wasn't really like a loss on me.
Mischa, thank you. You've been absolutely awesome. I know some people time-wise have to go. I'm sure you're going to stay behind. If anybody's got any more questions while the initial maths, please stay behind. But we can't say thank you enough. It was, from both of you, very enlightening. I'm a fan, and the things that it actually triggered within myself is incredible. From your creativity to your not even idealism, it's things that you do that I think, I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that, you know what I mean? So, thank you very much. Round of applause to everybody. If people want to buy your book, where do they go?
There's an order sheet there on the table. Put your name, details.
And when's your next book coming out?
I've got two planned. I don't have time to do it.
No pressure. Just,
It's not. I've got two more to tell you.
Mischa, you write about your experiences, what you're doing on the farm, or are you talking about planetary travel?
You asked me about the book.
Yeah.
So the book, in this current book, it's basically a much deeper explanation of what I've just shared with you today. Going from literally following the armed forces to the office, all the way down to maybe 2020 on the farm. So it's kind of like a 10-year, roughly a 10-year timeline. Last year, my experiences on the farm, insurance stuff, 500 stuff.
Guys, do that.